finally today, a common crop for Midwesterners is winter wheat. And as the name suggests, it's no stranger to the cold. However, if it emerges too quickly, it can develop freeze injury. We spoke with Nebraska Extension's Cody Creech to learn more.
Winter wheat is no stranger to colder temperatures. Nebraska Extension Dryland cropping system specialist Cody Creech says the crop in Nebraska so far has been setting itself up for success against freeze injury.
This year, at least in western Nebraska, we had a pretty cool year so far. We haven't had a lot of growth in our wheat, which has been good because these cold temps that we've had have really hurt the wheat a lot. But the wheat wasn't as far along development-wise, which has been good. In eastern Nebraska, the wheat's a little more developed, so it's a little more prone to injury. And you'll see that those fields that have higher rates of nitrogen, they're going to be more injured with freeze because they're going to have more growth compared to a field that might have lower fertility or was planted later. Things like that are going to inhibit the growth. And in years like this, it's going to help to protect that wheat by being smaller.
Dr. Creech says growth stage as well as duration of the lower temperatures are key influencers for freeze injury.
It's all about how cold it gets and for how long and what stage that wheat is at. And so typically when we talk about freezing temperatures, it's got to be at a certain temperature for at least 2 hours. That growth stage is important. And so in western Nebraska, most of our wheat out here is not jointed. That growing point is still below the soil surface, which helps to protect that wheat. But in eastern Nebraska, some of that wheat is jointed, and that growing point is starting to move up a little bit. And so for jointed wheat, typically if it can get down to close to 20 degrees and it can stay there for a few hours, it'll do some damage. A lot of the damage we see is cosmetic. What we start to worry about is when that wheat is more developed, it's getting closer to boot stage, and we get down at 28 degrees and we stay there for a few hours. That's when we really start to worry. We do worry when we see really cold temperatures and that wheat's more developed. We're going to start to see yield hits, and that's what we don't want to see.
When assessing freeze injury in wheat, patience is key. Judging too early could mean writing off a crop when there's still opportunity for it to grow.
And so we always encourage folks to at least wait 7 to 10 days before they really go out and assess what's going on. With these warmer days that we've already had some regrowth in that wheat that has been damaged. And so giving it some time to grow back is beneficial. We typically, in Nebraska, it's almost guaranteed at some point it's going to get some freeze damage. It happens every year. Things start to green up, and then we get cold storms that come in and the cold weather. It happens. And so we just have to be flexible. We have to be patient and anticipate that it's going to happen and have a plan B. There's still plenty of time if we decide that our wheat crop has been hit too hard. There's plenty of time that we can go back. We can put in a different crop still this spring. But before we take out our wheat crop, we absolutely have to contact our insurance adjuster, make sure that we have that covered before we take the crop out and put something else in.
Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Maddie McIntosh.